How are we doing? First day of school for a lot of people, yeah? We'll feel the enthusiasm there. Right, well, I'm excited. I feel like I've got a word. I feel like I had a hard time sitting still in my office today, and so I'm going to tell you on the front end. At the end, we're going to pray for miracles. All right, we're setting you up. We're trying to lob it up for you. But I just believe that God wants to do something in the room. But I want to be honest with you on the front end, and I want you to get to know me for a second. All right, I know that last week I talked about my love for coffee, and but I really didn't talk about myself a whole lot. And so I just want to tell you on the front end that I am Pentecostal. All right. I'm charismatic. I mean, it doesn't matter. You can call it whatever you feel like you need to call it. But here's the bottom line. I believe in the power of the Spirit of God. I believe in miracles. I believe that we were created with the intention of bringing heaven down to earth, not just being saved for heaven. I believe that we were created to speak God's word into the earth. I believe that God is still speaking to his people. I believe in the prophetic. I still believe in altar calls. I believe in giving an altar call because I encountered God in an altar call. I believe in giving God the honor that I feel like he is due. And I might be the only one in the room, but here's what I know. I know what I've been through. I know what I got saved from. And I've just found, like, whatever I can offer up, whatever I can muster up, he is worth that thing. I believe that when God gives a promise, he is the one on the earth and all around that is faithful to see it through. Other people will probably let you down. I will probably let you down. But if he gives a promise, he will always see it through to the end. I just believe that the scent that's on a follower's life has the ability to change atmosphere, to shift things. I believe that even just being in the room when he's moving can get something on your life. And I can't point to all the different things. I just know that I was once really jacked up. And now I'm not. I just know that I was once blind, but now I see. I just know that I was once bound by all of my mess and my issues and my situations and my insecurities. But now I am walking in freedom, and I can trust that if he will do it for me, he'll do it for you too. And I don't ever want to lose my wonder of the power of Jesus. I never want to feel like I've got him figured out. I had a conversation one time with somebody after a service, and I was like shaking. I felt like God had been moving. I felt like it was tangible. And I said, what a service. Can you believe that? And they said, you'll get used to it. And I thought to myself, I never want to get used to it. I want to constantly be surprised when he walks in the room. I want to be constantly just enveloped in what he's doing. And I don't ever want to have a quick service just for the sake of having a quick service. I want to have an encounter with the one that created me. I don't ever want to move church to the back burner of my life because my life got busy. I don't ever want to trade his presence for my preference. And I think it's really easy to do that, but I'm just telling you on the front end, this is who I am. I get loud, I shout because I know the stuff I've been saved from, but I also am loud and I shout because I know what he's capable of. And I just believe if he's done it before, he'll do it again. And I just believe that with all that's happening around us, all of the unrest and all of what feels like chaos and what feels like compromise and what feels like crumbling all around us, that Jesus is still walking in our midst. He's walking up the aisle. He's walking next to your seat. But we have to be able to recognize when Jesus is walking by. Tonight we're going to get into a story that may be familiar to you. But I just want to invite you to a little bit of a different approach to this story. And I believe that God has something for us in this. So I'm going to pray, and then you'll be good to go on the piano because we're not going to read the whole text to start. So, Lord, I just thank you for your goodness and your mercy. Lord, I thank you for all the ways you've come through before. Lord, all the miracles you've done, for everybody that's in the room, all the things they have seen. Lord, if you've done it before, you'll do it again. So, Lord, I pray tonight you would release miracles in the house. And it's in Jesus' name. Amen. If you'll open your Bibles or you can look on the screen, we're going to be in Mark chapter 10. Mark chapter 10, we're going to start in verse 46, and we're going to work our way all the way to verse 52. In verse 46, this is where it starts. It says, they came to Jericho. They came to Jericho. I know that most people in this room, that you like a little heads up when somebody's going to drop by your house, right? You want to make sure that the baseboards are clean, because you know that that person, as soon as they walk in, they're going to get down and investigate the baseboards in your house, right? You want to make sure that all of the loose items that are scattered across your kitchen table, across your countertops, that are all over the floor, that you can cram all of that into that one closet that you have, right? Or your garage, whatever place it is that you store all of your items. Listen, we all have it. There's no shame, all right? And listen, I also know we all have that one drawer in our kitchen. You know, you've not even touched that stuff in 6 years, but one day you might need that little wrench that you stuck in there. One day you might need that instruction manual that you shoved away in that drawer. But I know that nobody likes somebody to just drop by. You like to have a little heads up. And if you are the person in the room that likes to drop by, stop. All right? Do everybody else a favor and quit giving anxiety to people, right? As soon as they see you pull up, they're like, oh, I didn't even clean. And some people are like, I didn't even take a shower today, right? Like, people want to be prepared when someone is stopping by. And you want to have at least a couple days so that you can be prepared. So I just want to give you a heads up on the front end here. Jesus is coming by. He is coming by. He is coming to the place that you call home. He is coming to the place that you kick back and you take your shoes off and you relax. Jesus is coming to your workplace. He is coming to our church. He's coming to our town. Jesus is coming by, and you just have to look up and see that He is walking by. And when Jesus comes to you, you can be free. You can be released from all of the things that have you bound. Listen, you can see again. You can hear again. You can breathe again. Maybe you can relax for the first time in a long time. Maybe you can feel joy again. When Jesus comes by, He will always make Himself available to you if you'll just look up and see Him. I just feel like tonight, maybe there's some people in the room that are thankful. Aren't you thankful that He came by on the day that He did for you? Aren't you thankful that in all of the mess you had surrounding your life, that Jesus chose to stop by just for you? Is anybody in here thankful that in all of the issue you had, He thought you were worth stopping for? I'm just wondering tonight if there's anybody in Cornerstone, in Nashville, Madison, Hendersonville that is thankful tonight that He thought you were worth stopping for. Listen, He's not a holiday guest. He is not a holiday guest. He is the King of Kings. He is the Lord of Lords. He's the breaker of chains, and He is the freer of the captive. And He's not just stopping by to sip on some coffee with you. He's not just stopping by to kick back and have a casual conversation with you. When He comes by, He has the full intention of touching your life. And it changes everything. I'm convinced now more than ever what Proverbs says, that a man's gift, someone's gift will make room for them. But it's your thankfulness that'll keep the door open for you. And we have to live a life of thanksgiving. That's how you enter in, but it's also what keeps you there. Because if we're not careful, we'll think all the miracles in our life came from us. But when we're thankful, we are recognizing and honoring, you did it, you'll keep doing it, you're the one that did it, I didn't really have a whole lot to play there, you're the one that came through for me. It's your thankfulness that you're supposed to live in. Are we thankful for all of the things that we possess? Or are we thankful for all the ways that He's come through for us? Verse 46 goes on, it says, as Jesus and His disciples and a large crowd were leaving Jericho, Bartimaeus, the son of Timaeus. Bartimaeus, by the way, means son of Timaeus. It's exactly what it means. What a name, right? Real creative. A blind beggar was sitting by the road. when he heard that it was Jesus the Nazarene, he began to shout, "Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me." Many scolded him to get him to be quiet, but he shouted all the more, "Son of David, have mercy on me." Listen, the people around you may not want you to shout. The people around you in your life, in your inner circle, they may not want you to raise your hands. The people around you may not want you to pray out loud. The people around you may not want you to press in for worship. But we have got to get to the point where we don't care what other people think. Because when he's coming by, that should be our only focus. It shouldn't be are they going to hear me sing? Listen, I'm the worst singer in this room. And I will sing as loud as I possibly can sing because I'm here to get his attention. I'm here to get his focus. And I just believe that what Bartimaeus did is a sign for us that no matter what other people are trying to get you to do or get you to stop doing, he shouted all the more. It fueled him to keep going. He was going to do whatever he had to do to get Jesus' attention. He was going to do whatever he needed to do. And here's the thing. He was blind. He didn't know which one of them was Jesus. But he had heard the commotion that had been coming all the way up to Jericho. He had heard the large crowd, all the rumors, all of the things that were swirling. I mean, can you imagine if people's legs started to grow in this building, how quick it would spread around Nashville? Can you imagine if Pastor Jeremy got up here and spit in someone's eye and it opened, how many people would come through the next week? Like, they're going to want to see, oh, I've heard about this guy. I've heard what he's been doing. And Bartimaeus was a beggar at the city gate, which means he heard everything that came through the gate. But he heard something that made him want to shout. He heard something in the commotion and all the chaos that in him said, that's the thing that I want. Whoever that Jesus is, I can't tell what he looks like, but I know that the crowd is coming and he must be with them. We have got to get the realization that getting his attention is far greater than anyone else's opinion. That getting his attention on our life is the best thing for us. We have got to come into worship and into church with the mindset of if he doesn't come for anybody else, he's coming for me. We've got to get the revelation that if nobody else in the church wants to lift their hands and worship, by God, I will be the one that lifts my hands and worship. We've got to get the realization that if nobody else wants to serve on team, I will be the one that serves on team. If nobody else wants to lead a life group or be a part of a life group, I will be the one that leads the life group and be a part of the life group. We've got to get the realization that his attention and his affection is way greater than what anybody else is doing. And when we can understand that, it doesn't matter what other people are doing. It just matters that he's walking by. And you'll grab a hold of what he's doing. It says in verse 49, it says, Jesus stopped and said, call him. So they called the blind man and said to him, have courage, get up, he is calling you. Verse 50 starts with, he threw off his cloak. I just want to take a minute to explain what this means. His cloak was actually a government-issued cloak. It was something that the government of the time would give to people to signify that this man had a legitimate claim to be a beggar at the gate. That if he had this on, he actually had permission from the government to sit here and beg to people. It gave him the right to beg. And it's really easy for us to feel like our insecurities and the things that we feel inadequate on gives us the permission and gives us the right to put others down, that our issues give us the right to act the way that we act. It's our situations and our circumstances that we feel like gives us the right to check out during the preaching. It's all the stuff that's happening in our life that we feel like gives us the right not to lift our hands or not engage in worship. We feel like all of this stuff gives us the right. But he threw off the thing that gave him the right to beg. He threw away the thing that identified him to the world and the culture around him. And I just feel like it's time for us as a people, as followers, to get rid of all of the tags that we've got on our life. All of the things that people have tried to put on you, the names and the issues that they've placed on you. It's time to throw off the cloak of what they've been putting on you. The thing that people identify you as, the issues that they identify your last name with, it's time to throw off the cloak and start running to Jesus. I just feel like it's so easy to grab a hold of all of our stuff and cling to it like a badge of honor. But he threw it off. I don't want to hold on to all of my inadequacies. I don't want to cling to my insecurities like they're my identity, because he is my identity. And I can't afford to walk through life holding on to all of these different things that aren't going to give me life. He threw off his cloak. What things are we holding on to that are keeping us back? What things are we latching ourselves to that we're not allowing God to touch in our life? It continues on. It says he jumped up and he came to Jesus. I just have a question for you tonight. How much longer are we going to continue to allow ourselves to be sidelined? How much longer are we going to continue to allow ourselves to be sidelined? And I phrase it that way because God didn't put us on the sideline. He didn't put you on the bench. He didn't sit you over there and say, well, you just wait until you get it figured out. Or you just wait because the person in front of you does it a little better than you do. He doesn't put us there. We feel like we're disqualified from his miracles. But he doesn't put us on the sideline. He didn't put him on the side of the road. And he doesn't put you on the side of the road. Here's what I've learned about this text, that there were a lot of beggars at the gates. There were a lot of people sitting at gates begging. But Bartimaeus is the one that got up. Bartimaeus is the one that paid attention to the fact that there was commotion coming his way. Bartimaeus was the one that thought, I don't want to sit here in my mess anymore. I don't want to sit in all of my issues. I don't want to sit in what everybody else identifies me as. And if he's coming by, if this is my one shot, I'm going to get up. And if I'm the only one shouting, I'm going to keep shouting until I get his attention. I don't want to sit here sidelined anymore. I don't want to sit here feeling disqualified. I don't want to sit here feeling like I'm not good enough, or I'll never measure up, or I just won't quite make the mark. It's time that I get up off of my seat, throw off my cloak, and run to Jesus. Bartimaeus got up. And when you realize that you've got a stirring on the inside of you, that something that worship song says, or something the Spirit is doing in the room, or something that is in the message starts to stir on the inside of you, the greatest thing you can do is respond to it and to run after it. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to have the whole equation worked out about how he's going to do the thing in your life. Bartimaeus didn't know what was about to happen. He just knew there's something about this man. There's something about this Jesus that I'm shouting to, the Son of David, that the thing that's on him, I want whatever it is on my life. And what if we came into church with that mindset? That no matter what is happening, if he's showing up, I'm going full force towards what he's doing. That no matter what is being said, no matter what is happening around the world around us, that if Jesus is showing up on Wednesdays and Sundays or at the encounter weekend, if he's showing up, I'm going to be the first one in the room. And I'm going to be the one that's running after him full force. You need to get up. Start moving in his direction. You need to get to the church. You need to get plugged in. You need to get committed. You need to get to serving, and you need to get to the altar when he's doing something. Because he is here, and he's moving, and he's walking in our midst. Verse 51 says, Then Jesus said to him, What do you want me to do for you? I mean, what a loaded question, right? Can you imagine Jesus walking in the room tonight and him standing in front of you saying, okay, now what is it that you want? Listen, the elephant in the room is that we all have a pretty long list. You've got your wants and your desires. You've got your list of needs, and we rank them, right? The thing you need the most is usually the thing you pray first. And if we're all being really honest, they're usually pretty self-centered, right? Like, Lord, I really need you to do this. I remember being in high school. I did not even believe in God. I was an atheist, and I had a really big test coming up. By God, guess what I did that night? I prayed. I didn't even believe in it. But we rank our list, and we have all of these things that we are believing God for, we're hoping God for. We talked about it last week, all of these dreams that we have. You have got a punch list, prayer list, and you're just waiting for the day you can click it off, right? Or we're just waiting on the day that we can stop circling that one thing we've been circling for 3 years, right? We all have a list. You all have things that you're hoping for. But I just want to tell you tonight that loving Jesus isn't loving Jesus when we distance ourselves from him because it didn't come through the way we wanted. To love Jesus and to trust Jesus is to know that it may not pan out the way I was hoping, but he was faithful in every step of the way. That I can trust him in every step of the way. That no matter what I'm looking for, what he has for me is probably going to be better. And I may not get my answer immediately. I may not get the exact thing I'm hoping for, but I have found in my life he will always come through regardless. And what he has, he will make a way for. And if he brought you to it, he will see you through it, right? And if he brings you to something, he's not going to bring you there and drop you off. He will always be there. And listen, it may get really quiet for a while, but you might hear some commotion. You might hear the stories of what he's doing in everybody else's life. And I want to tell you tonight that it's those moments that'll fuel you into believing he'll keep doing it for you too. It may look dry for you right now. You may be sitting at the gate. You may have been sitting there for a long time. It feels like that cloak that you've got on is getting heavier and heavier by the day. But Jesus is coming by. You just got to get up. And then he's going to ask you, what is it that you want me to do for you? The blind man replied, going on in verse 51, the blind man replied, Rabbi, let me see again. Jesus said to him, go, your faith has healed you. Immediately he regained his sight and followed him down the road. Pastor Heather and the team, y'all can come. He immediately got up and followed him down the road. There are 37 recorded miracles within the 4 Gospels. 2 of them have names attached to them. Lazarus, who was close to Jesus, who was probably the best friend of Jesus from what we believe. And then there's Bartimaeus. And of all the miracles, when Jesus would heal someone, he would either tell them, go and not tell anybody, or go and do this, or most of the time they would immediately run and tell everybody. But Bartimaeus is the only one recorded that got up and immediately followed. He's the only one that Jesus did something for, that his immediate response to God moving in his life was to follow him. He didn't ask questions. He didn't need all of it figured out. He just knew. He just came through. My response is to follow what he's doing. I want to go with the crowd. I want to go with the commotion because I've been seeking and asking for this thing, and he finally came through. And I'm going to follow him no matter where it takes me. I'm going to go down the road that he's going down because what he just did in my life is worth following. And I'm just wondering tonight if what he is doing in your life, what he has done, and what he's getting ready to do, is it worth you following it? Is it worth you following it? Jesus has been in this room all day. He's been in this room all month. He's been in this room all year. He's been here for decades. And he's been waiting for you to just recognize that he's walking by. He's just been waiting and hoping you'd look his direction. Because what he has for you is the thing that you need. It may not be the thing that you want, but it'll always be the thing that you need. And listen, we aren't waiting on God to move in this place. We're not sitting around on our hands just wondering, God, when are you going to do it? God, I've been hoping for this. At what point are you going to show up and do the thing? Right? This is not yard sign Christianity, where we plant the sign in our yard and just leave it there and just hope one day he'll show up. God is waiting on us to take a step towards him, to move in his direction. And this is what I love about Bartimaeus. It didn't matter what people said. It didn't matter even how long he had been sitting there. It didn't matter what the government said about him. It didn't matter what society was saying about him. He was going to get up and move in Jesus' direction to get the thing he was hoping for. And I feel tonight that all across this room, there is a plethora of wants, needs, desires. Some of you are needing a miracle. I mean, in the culture and society we live in, a lot of us are needing a financial miracle, right? A lot of us are needing God to come through in a miraculous way because we don't even know how we're going to make it. I want to tell you tonight, he's here to do miracles because it's what he does and it's who he is, and he has been waiting on you to move in his direction. And you don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to have the whole math equation. All you need to do is take a step in his direction. I wanted to make sure that I left plenty of time here at the end because sometimes it takes a little moment to get through. Sometimes it takes a little waiting with him in the kavah, as Pastor Jeremy said. It takes a little wrestling with him to get the blessing that you need. And I just believe tonight that Jesus is here. He's in the room. And for some of you, you've seen him come through in ways that you can't even really articulate. You can't even really put into full sentences all the ways he came through for you. And what if it was your worship tonight? The way that you were thankful to him, that gave someone else the faith to believe he'd do it for them too. The faith to believe that the cancer diagnosis that they just got will be gone. The faith to believe that their prodigal will get to come home. The faith to believe that everything that they're looking for God to do, he'll do exceedingly and abundantly above all that we ask, think, or imagine. So tonight, if you'll stand all across this room. James chapter 4 gives us a promise. In verse 8, it says, if we will draw near to him, he will draw near to us. And so tonight, I'm going to be very clear. We're going to pray for miracles. We're going to pray for everybody that wants God to do something in their life. We're going to lay hands and believe with you. We're going to lay hands and trust that we've seen him do it before and he'll do it again. But we've got to understand it takes action on our part. Sometimes you've got to get up. And you've got to throw off the thing that has been binding you. You've got to throw off all of the distraction that's held you down, and you've got to make a step in his direction. And I just have this suspicion tonight that as soon as you make a step towards him, he's making 100 towards you. And I'm believing tonight for a collision course in this altar, that you're going to get hope again. Faith to believe that he can do it for you again. So tonight, if that's you, I need a miracle in my life. I want to invite you to come. We're going to sing, but we want to come. We want to pray with you. So if that's you tonight, I need God to pull through for me. Will you come tonight? If you'll step out of your seat and make your way tonight. Come on, whether it's financial, whether you're needing a miracle in your family, whether you need a miracle at your job. Come on, maybe you want a miracle to happen in this church.
So fan the flame and keep it burning. You're refining in the furnace, and all the waiting will be worth it, 'cause you're working it all for good. Miracle after miracle, open door after to open up. Here it comes, so get